In our last episode, we just barely survived a Mexican fireworks show with all of our fingers and toes intact. This time around, we leave Barra de Navidad behind and start working our way farther north up Mexico's central coast. For the last month or so, the calm, protected anchorage of Barra de Navidad has been our home sweet home. But it was time to move on. Well, we're back on the move. We've been in Barra de Navidad, which is right behind us. We just left for over a month, and it was pretty great. It's a nice place to hang out for a while. But it's time to go. Today we're just making a short hop to Tecate, which is something like 12 miles north of us, and we're gonna wait for the next weather window, which is just a couple of days away. The anchorage back there in Barra de Navidad, it's funky, stuff grows fast, so we're gonna have some barnacles to scrub so we can get a little speed going farther north. Clean bottom is a happy bottom and helps us go faster. And after a quick couple of hours of motoring, we made it to Bahia de Tecate, where we'd hoped to run the Watermaker and scrub off some barnacles. But just like most things on this boat this year, our quick and easy couple of projects seemed to go sideways and right down the drain. It's another day, another repair. This year is really shaping up to be the year where everything needs to be fixed. Today is the Watermaker. This is a home-built Watermaker, and I don't want to get into a whole lot of detail about the specifics of this because I do have a video that just covers the Watermaker. If you haven't seen that, I'll put a link down in the video description. You can go check it out if you want more info on the specifics of the Watermaker. But today, it's fixing a leak. Behind the control panel, when we dial up the pressure to operating pressure, which is 800 psi, I'm getting a fine mist out of the back of the panel. It's really fine, but a small leak eventually turns into a big leak, and that's a problem. So unfortunately, to fix this, basically the whole thing has to come apart to get to the back of the control panel to fix the leak. So I think for most cruisers, there's some sort of creature comfort that's a necessity to make this lifestyle possible. For Brenda, it's a washing machine. She hates going to a laundromat, so we have a washing machine. You can kind of hear it going in the background, because right now we're doing laundry. And for me, even though I look like I'm a homeless wreck all the time, I have to have showers. Daily, and lots of them. Just being able to rinse off, cool off, be clean. For me, it's a necessity. So, we've got a big Watermaker that pumps out a lot of water, so we can do laundry, and I can take showers. Well, actually both of us. Because nobody wants to be with somebody who doesn't shower. So this Watermaker makes about 32 gallons an hour, depending on where we're at. And in the time we're cruising, it makes 95% of the water we use, which is a lot. A lot of showers, a lot of laundry, it gets used. So when I decided to build this Watermaker rather than buy one off the shelf, it was for three main reasons. Number one, because I'm a cheapskate. I'll be the first to admit it. But even more importantly than that, I'm a tinkerer. I like to build stuff. Back when I had a job, I had a shop, and I built stuff. It's kind of fun. But the number one reason really is that I wanted to know how this thing worked. So by having basic knowledge on how these things work, it's not only helped us out a bunch when we've needed to fix ours, it's helped us out on a bunch of our friends' boats as well. Because like it or not, everything on a boat eventually needs some love, and Watermakers tend to need a bit more than a lot of things. So just knowing how this thing comes apart and how it works in general, I've been able to help some of our friends fix theirs as well. But sometimes you just need parts. This is the problem child. Right up here on this T, I don't know if you can see that. A little bit of rust coming out of there. That's where this thing's leaking. So it's got to be replaced. it's pretty hard to see, but both this nipple and this T both have a little corrosion where they thread together. That's the culprit. So we're gonna just pop in some new ones and call it good. Fire this thing up and hope for no leaks. Hopefully this will last us another 7-8 years, something like that. But I guess the moral of the story, nothing on a boat lasts forever, especially Watermaker stuff. And while I was busy getting the Watermaker back together and running leak-free, Brenda was down below in the water, scraping off a month's worth of growth from Barra de Navidad. Well, the Watermaker works, the bottom's clean, and we have a weather window tomorrow. So, we're getting out of here. So today we're going to go over Passage Making 101 and talk about the top 3 things we do when we're preparing for a passage. It's pretty easy. Number 1, check the weather. Number 2, check the weather. And number 3, check the weather. From where we are here in Tenochtitlan, it's about a 24-hour passage to get to the Puerto Vallarta area. It's really a pretty easy trip. There's not really much we have to contend with except Cabo Corrientes. This is a pretty infamous cape in this part of the world, and it kind of throws up some... It can be a little rough around there. A few years ago on our first rounding of the cape, we had a forecast of 10 to 15 knots of breeze, but we rounded right in the middle of the afternoon when the thermals kicked up, and we had breeze in the low 40s and some pretty rowdy seas, so we're a little more careful going around this these days. So ideally, what we want to do from where we are here in Tenochtitlan is round that cape in the middle of the night when the odds of it being calm are the best. So this forecast we have right now, we've got a pretty good south breeze where we are, and this south breeze should actually move up the coast with us as the day goes on. But late afternoon, early evening, in theory, according to the forecast, it's supposed to die out and allow us to round the cape in the middle of the night when it's flat calm. And that's what we're shooting for. Flat calm, which means we'll be motoring. Which isn't exactly my favorite thing to do, but it's better than get beat up around the cape. The only other thing we're really looking at with this weather right now is that for the last handful of days, it's been a pretty strong north breeze, which is sending a lot of chop and swell down our direction. And even though we have this south breeze along the coast, a little bit offshore, there's still a north breeze. So in theory, when we leave this bay, it may be a little choppy for a bit and uncomfortable until this north wind dies out and this southerly breeze starts to fill in a little more. But that's kind of what we got. This weather window only is about 24 hours long. There hasn't really been anything else on the radar for a while. And our season's starting to run out. We got to cover some ground, get north so we can see some stuff and do a little more work on this boat before the season's over. Oh yeah, also, if you haven't seen our sweet gear yet, check it out. We got hats, cups, shirts, all at svadventurer.com. Check it out. Today is a big day. We got a 3-way race. Got my racing cup. It's got a racing stripe on it, so you know it's fast. Got my racing shirt. And I got a racing cookie. So today we got a south wind, which is a rare thing around these parts, and we're taking it going north. And we got 3 boats going with us. 3-way race. I'm kind of excited about it. I even put the Spinnaker on deck. You know it's getting serious. Power up with coffee, power up with cookie, and and we're out. Captain at the helm and a three-way race, I gotta tell you, this was pretty exciting. We had Luego just behind us, and Danica, who jumped the gun, was out in front, but I could tell with a good stiff breeze, the competition was already getting fierce. But even with a highly competitive race, you gotta get down to business. Look at this bad boy. This is for big fish. Our friends Mark and Layla, they noticed we haven't caught anything lately. So they made us a new lure. I'm actually a little scared of this thing. I think this is for really big fish. Danica, adventure on 1-6.
This is Danica.
Go to 6-8.
6-8. Hey, how's it going?
Good day for a sail, huh?
Yeah, the sun's behind some clouds and not too hot and got good wind.
Well, watch our wake as we go by. We're flying and I think we're gaining on you quick.
Jen wanted me to tell you that we have a reef main, so that's why we're going a little slower than you guys.
Well, whatever makes you feel better. Your secret coconut stash?
That is. There was ants in it though. And one came out and bit me. Jerk. Yeah, it was a big ant. He didn't like me messing with his own.
Well, at this point, we're pretty well settled in. We're going dead downwind. We've got about 15 knots on the stern, but unfortunately, a pretty lumpy, confused sea. There's about a 6 to 8 foot swell coming right on the nose, which is weird having the wind behind us, and a swell coming at us. But also, there's about a 4 foot swell coming out of the west, and about a 5 to 6 foot swell coming out of the south. So it's pretty lumpy and uncomfortable at best. So basically all three boats, each one has got somebody down for the count. Brenda's laying down for a bit. She's not feeling so great. Same with the other two boats. But we got about 24 hours to go. Hopefully this will smooth out at some point. But that's what we got. Luckily, after a handful of hours, those lumpy, bumpy seas started to mellow out. But with Luego gaining some ground on us, it was time for us to stop screwing around, get serious, and bring out the big guns. So once the chute went up, there was no stopping us. Brenda's got passage loops. I love these things.
Passage food of champions. Sugar bath for your mouth.
Well, it's been a pretty great day of sailing. Started out a little lumpy bumpy, but it's smoothed out. Got the Spinnaker flying for most of the day. Jason and Jen there about almost a mile in front of us. Luego, which is Brad and Sonny, they're a couple of miles behind us. We've all been pretty pretty evenly matched. So it's been kind of fun, but the sun's about to go down, and I think the Spinnaker's about to come down too. The wind's starting to get a little fluky. So sailing might be ending, but it was great. Really great. But sadly, our pretty great day of sailing, it eventually had to come to an end. Just like the forecast predicted, our wind kind of just petered out, which meant we'd have a nice long night of motoring. And after that nice long night of motoring, we made it to the anchorage in La Cruz, which is just outside of Puerto Vallarta. Well, we made it to La Cruz, and it was a pretty good trip getting here. We had great sailing and a long night of motoring, which is what we planned for, so I think it all worked out. We rounded Cabo Corrientes, and it was pretty easy. We're going to be here for, I don't really know. We'll be here for a little while because there's stuff to do. This little town of La Cruz, it's one of those places that's pretty easy to spend some time in. It's not uncommon for people to get stuck here and never leave. I don't think that's going to happen to us, but we are going to enjoy ourselves for a little bit and see some of the sights around here. But today, it's recuperation day. But that's about it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.